on the sideline.
But in the end, there are lots of reasons, but the final will say 38-7 last week, Philadelphia 31-7 this week against a San Francisco team that really they couldn't throw the ball, and Philly was playing downhill the whole game as well. So the Philadelphia Eagles, who still have 7 players from the team that won the Super Bowl with Doug Peterson 5 years ago, they are going, and they're going to end up, we'll talk about this later, face their old coach with 3 of these Eagles were drafted by Andy Reid, but another story another time. Well, so all 5 rookie quarterbacks that have started in a championship game, they're 0-5. They've all had great defense, but this was like playing with one arm behind your back. But that seems like we're taking stuff away from Philly. And like we started talking about, as heroic and Mahomes and company were, and, you know, Hurts and the running game, Philadelphia, Hassan Reddick, and the front wall of Philadelphia, they took charge right out of the gates and changed the game.
Boom, all year long, Phillies had the best combination of offensive and defensive line in football, and it showed up again today. Hassan Reddick, they got 5 guys with double-digit sacks.
You talked about both sides of the big uglies. You talked about the defensive side and premier pass rushers, but the offensive line, when you talk about running the football as well as protecting the passer, a guy like Jason Kelce, he leads the charge up front at the center position.
Like we said, 3 of the 5 linemen of the Eagles and the Chiefs, by the way, offensive linemen. Well, they're not going to the Pro Bowl because they are flag football, but they made the Pro Bowl. Their travel plans changed. Running the ball, look, San Fran did as well as they could. I mean, I think they held them to 3.6, whatever it was. But as good as your defense is, you're on the field, San Francisco. It ends up being a slow leak in the tire.
It was a slow leak, Boom, and it was a great job by Nick Sirianni and the offensive staff. They made a subtle tweak, okay? They changed the formation. They started going strong side with the formation to the right and starting to run back to the weak side. It was an outstanding adjustment by the Eagles. We're going to run weak, hold the linebackers with our play fake, and Fred Warner and Drake Greenlaw, as Key showed, they were out of position all from the second quarter on throughout the rest of the game.
Well, look, Philly's not there by accident,
yes.
as we all know. We all know that. By the way, I understand they play more games than they might have used to, but just throw this up there for a minute. Most rushing touchdowns by a team in a season, including playoffs. The Eagles now have 39 rushing touchdowns to the point of the offensive line. So kudos to them. Obviously, the backs, we saw them all last week. I did not cover the Frankfurt Yellow Jackets.
I was about to ask you, did you cover the Yellow Jackets?
Did you see my stand-up at the catch? No, it was the run. In 1924. You remember the Frankfurt Yellow Jackets from Pennsylvania?
He was a teenager.
By the way, 1962, that was the 13-1. Then they beat the Giants in the playoffs in the championship game. Vince Lombardi. I was alive with that. I didn't cover that one either, all right? Jim Taylor, Paul Hornung, Bart Starr, Forrest Gregg, Jerry Kramer. We could go on and on and on. But we're getting off the subject. A little bit more Philadelphia and then some to San Francisco. So the Eagles come in, as we talked about, both of their lines. And they're a defense, though. I'm looking at that side. They're a defense that, boy, if they get a lead, which they haven't so much this year, the old proverbial, I'm coming.
I think so, especially when you're undermanned like San Francisco. You know, now, look, if you fast forward to Kansas City, I don't know that that'll be the case because Kansas City can score quick in a hurry if you make a mistake.
A quick comment on San Francisco. Not that we have more on this game as well. I mean, they really had, once the way it went, they had no shot. Because Philly, by the way, is pretty darn good.
I just wonder if San Francisco didn't have bad luck, they wouldn't have any luck at all.
Right.
Like they continue to have injury after injury at the wrong time, at the wrong position. But I'll say this: they had a rookie quarterback, Mr. Irrelevant, who took them to the NFC Championship game. The way they fought, how good this defense is, and they're probably going to lose the defensive coordinator, D'Amico Ryans. He's going to get a head coaching job.
Should.
You just wonder how long they can keep this group together and play this style of football because, boom, it's tough, it travels, but, man, they get injured at the wrong spots at the wrong time.
Right, 33 championship games in the last 4 years. I mean, one of them, of course, they went on to the Super Bowl. But this team, and they couldn't do much. I mean, they have a lot of interesting, it's like Kyle Shanahan offensively in the lab. I got McCaffrey, I got Debo, I got this. But when you're playing from behind,
it's
a
tough.
lot of that.
It's tough.
It's tough. They had a great season.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN Plus.